Because I can do it better the first time, honest.
Okay.
The more I do it, the more I mess it around.
I'm not sure that's true, but we'll go on.
Alright. Most... Hello, and welcome to What's News. There is far more water on Mars than had previously been thought, at least according to a computer simulation. It has generally been held that Mars lost its water by wafting out of its atmosphere in solar winds.
Wafting and a rolling, wafting and a rolling.
Solar winds are streams of powerfully charged particles ejected by the sun on a regular basis. Here on Earth, our atmosphere is protected from solar winds by our planet's magnetic field. This is generated by flowing iron deep around its core, and the magnetic field diverts charged particles around the planet, concentrating them towards the poles, where they can illuminate the atmosphere, creating spectacular auroras. It is thought that as Mars cooled, its core eventually became unable to flow and generate any magnetic field, leaving the atmosphere vulnerable to loss, particularly water molecules. This cooling also ended any volcanic activity on the planet. However, measurements have been unable to account for a sizable amount of this water, roughly half the volume of the Atlantic Ocean. This would be enough to cover the surface of the planet, which is much smaller than Earth, to a depth of 1,500 metres. Studies suggest that this water is locked inside minerals deep within the planet's crust. As there is no longer any volcanic activity on cold Mars, it remains there permanently. So, the good news is that if we decide to live on Mars, there might be plenty of water. The bad news, you need to get digging and mine it.
Yo ho, that's the wrong song for this.
Research conducted by the University of Hamburg. People power. Here at Xplore, we are always encouraging people to engage in science, and some environmental research conducted across Europe shows just how easy it is for anyone to become a research scientist overnight. The Asian bamboo longhorn beetle, that's a mouthful, isn't it, is a native to Asia, as its name suggests. However, in a warming climate and with the availability of ornamental bamboo plants across the continent, there is a concern that this pest may establish itself in Europe, particularly as they may travel with the imported bamboo itself. Research conducted by the University of Hamburg has found that their greatest sources of information are from what are being called citizen scientists and online platforms. This confirms the power of involving the public in species monitoring and other similar projects. Keep an eye out, your input could be vital. We may be a step closer to answering the age-old question of does the heart rule the head, with the discovery at the Nara Women's University of Japan of a sea slug that intentionally decapitates itself. Decapitates itself? I can do better than that. Only for the head to continue on its merry way, eventually growing a full replacement body. There are actually many examples of this in nature, but none have been observed before in a creature with such a complex bodily structure, including organs such as a heart. Amazingly, the body, minus the head, which does not regenerate, continues to survive for several days before its eventual death. It is thought that the slugs use this rather extreme method to rid their bodies of parasites. In what sounds like a line straight from a horror film, researcher Yotoshi Yusa commented, "We were really surprised to see the head crawling." Ew, crawling. Right, where's my body gone? Astronomers may have discovered the most distant supermassive black hole yet. A telltale jet of X-rays produced by a quasar 12.7 billion light-years away has been found using the Chandra X-ray Observatory. A quasar is a highly energetic astronomical event produced when a supermassive black hole is feeding on the surrounding material. These jets themselves extend for some 160,000 light-years, which is longer than the entire span of our Milky Way galaxy. It has long been a puzzle for astronomers how so many supermassive black holes, which are found at the centre of almost every galaxy, were able to form in the early universe. What's also unclear is whether stars in galaxies were gravitationally attracted to early supermassive black holes, or if the stars pulled themselves into galaxies first, and then went on to form supermassive black holes at the galactic centre. It is hoped that this discovery may be able to provide some further insight. How well do you understand quantum mechanics? Well, I certainly don't. It turns out that even experts in the field may not have the same level of understanding as a certain type of photosynthetic bacteria, say the scientists at the University of Chicago. Green sulfur bacteria are easily damaged if they produce energy in the form of vibrations, when there is oxygen around. They have also evolved to use quantum mechanical effects called vibronic mixing, which enables the energy production to stop if any oxygen is detected, much like how you would silence a guitar by placing your hand on the vibrating strings. Time. The return of the Brood X. No, it's not a movie sequel, although it sounds like one. I'd probably pay to see it. The countdown is on for the emergence of the 3 species of periodical cicadas named Brood X that have been waiting underground for this moment for 17 years. The last episode of Friends was being screened when these bugs were born. This year is a particularly special event. It isn't very often that several species emerge in the same year, and that is because the periodical cicadas have evolved into master mathematicians. Their cycles are always based on a prime number, usually 13 or 17. Using prime numbers in this way means over the long spans of time, the chances of several species emerging in the same year are so minimalised, and so they are not competing with each other for food and other resources. It is quite a spectacular sight and should make for some prime time viewing around mid-April. Oops, I dig it again when I meet your crater. When is a meteor crater not a meteor crater? When it's been wrongly identified, that's when. Some humble pie is on order for a team of scientists who, in 2012, identified the world's oldest meteorite impact crater in Greenland. Recently, a new team of international scientists excitedly went there hoping to discover new types of minerals that could be useful, but instead ended up disproving the very reason they were there in the first place. Zircon crystals in the rock were used to confirm that the site was in fact created by natural processes. Chris Yakamuchuk, who led the recent team, said that, while we were disappointed that we weren't working in a structure that was the result of a 3 billion-year-old meteorite, science is about advancing knowledge through discovery. Quite right, and very precocious too.
Gracious.
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 Quite right, and very gracious too. Bye! We did.